Hi guys, welcome to Game Talk. As Roma against Ajax. Sahbi, we needed the win, 2 goals. We needed to score 2 goals. At the end, 1-1. We're out of the Europa League. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts. I'm freaking frustrated. So disappointed. It was an awful game, especially from the Roma side. We, Ajax came to play. Roma came to defend. Defend. The formation was 3-4-3, but I just saw 6 defenders. Ridiculous. This is not the Roma that I normally know from years ago. But lucky goal. Everything went bad on our side. I mean, first half, oh man, really annoyed on the way we played. There was no threat. There was no depth in our game. We were so predictable. Every pass, we could see that miles ahead. We didn't create anything. The only big chance that we got is once that keeper made that mistake and Anthony gave that ball to Klaas, which he should have scored. But yeah, it was so bad, and it was exactly what Roma wanted. They wanted it was their game in the first half, and
Okay,
that's
let me ask you a question. Yeah, let me ask you a question, Sahbi. So we knew that Roma is going to do this. Ten Hag was anticipating this. A couple of players also in the interview, looking forward to the second leg. We were anticipating, all of us, we knew Roma is not going to come here to play. They want to defend the lead. So that's exactly what they did. But in the press conference, Ten Hag said, we know how to make it difficult for Roma, even if they are going to set up the defensive formation, which they did. How much did we anticipate towards this defensive side of Roma, and how much did you think did we do to really start making it difficult for them? Did you think at the end, don't forget, we had chances. I mean, our goal that was ruled as a foul.
Yeah.
We had a couple of slight chances, but like you said, I mean, it could have been better. But what's your overall generic thought on the game, what you saw today?
Yeah, I mean, the first half, I don't know what Ten Hag stated in his in the dressing room before we started the game, but nothing happened. It's like the tempo was so low. Gravenberg was freaking bad today. He was slowing down the tempo, bad passes, and there was no depth. I mean, the wingers didn't even dribble past their direct opponents. It was always getting inside the box, and then that's exactly where all the players are. So it went too crowd, and then it's too easy for Roma to defend. So
why is this? I mean, this is a good question. This is a good point. We have been arguing about this a couple of times about the wingers, the Brazilian wingers. Most of the time, they're a little bit safe. They give the ball back, or they try to come inside. They never go past their defenders.
Yeah.
Is this a tactical stuff, or is this a cautious? The way they're too cautious, they don't want to engage, basically.
No, I think they're too cautious. Definitely too cautious. I mean, their direct opponent, they didn't even have like a second defender behind them to help them out. It was almost one-on-one in several occasions. So it's either the wingers were bad or the defenders were good. And I don't think the defenders are that good of Roma. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's like a psychological thing, mental issue. But they really need to dribble more and pass their defenders because, I mean, they're Brazilians, for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but do you only refer to the Brazilian wingers as being too cautious? I thought the whole team was too.
No, the whole team. But I mean, the whole attack was bad. I mean, we can talk about the wingers, but Tadic was also bad. Plaza did things wrong. Only the defenders were great today.
But what about the tempo? What about the tempo of the game?
Yeah, the tempo was slow. I mean,
why was it slow?
Why was it slow? It's because they probably couldn't find any room, any space between the midfield and defense of Roma. Next to that, we didn't have any walking players, like people who went deep. If you got players who go deep, or the third person who goes deep, then the tempo can be much higher. Now everybody fixed to their place and there's no movement at all, it's way too easy for Roma to defend. And I don't know why there was no movement at all. I mean, in the second half, it went a bit better. Perhaps Tanach gave them a clear message to play a bit more the high balls because that went well. You could see that in the first goal. Perfect pass from Skuurs and lovely finish by Broby. And how did we create such such attack is because we skipped the midfield. We skipped the crowded part within the on the field. So with that high pass and the defenders were a bit deep from Roma, it was easy to for the attackers, especially attackers who have speed, to create chances, and that's what went good in at the beginning of the second half. And then I couldn't figure out why they stopped because they began again with taking the ball right, left, and no opportunistic play, and that worries me. That worries me a
Look,
lot.
let's talk about the goal the second goal that we scored,
Yeah,
which was a foul. How do you look at that? Do you think it was correctly? I mean, if you can be objective, was it a foul?
objectively, okay, it was a foul. But what kind of foul was it? If it was a foul on midfield, the referee would never have whistled have never whistled for that foul. I mean, if that was a foul, then the penalty in the first half would fucking be a penalty. I
Of
mean,
Tadic, of Tadic.
I mean, the second goal, which was ruled out by the VAR, he grabbed him a bit, or I mean, he put his leg a bit and he fell. The same applied for the penalty part in the first half. So if that was a foul, then in the first half should have been a foul as well and should be a penalty.
Sahbi, it's very frustrating
Ridiculous.
for me. I think it's frustrating for you as well.
Yeah,
Look,
ridiculous.
2 weeks ago, you were invited and we talked to a Roma fan, and you were very, like confident about the fact that Roma is not up, a matchup for Ajax. We have much more quality. So my simple question to you is, how did we not win both both games against Roma? What happened? I mean, in
Yeah.
general now, in general.
General, I think bad luck from our side and pure luck on their side.
Is it luck or is
Simple
it
as it is.
quality?
Well, no, I think it's a bit of luck. I mean, if you look at this game, the it was Timber who slipped before the pass came. Then it went through Gravenberg, and by accident it went to Zeko who could tap in the ball.
But great
Last week,
teams, listen, great teams, you don't see these kind of goals happen to great teams. Honestly, this happens a lot with Ajax in the counter.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I'm gonna tell you something.
but it's still bad luck.
Once Timber slipped, I knew we're gonna concede a goal. Why? I got flashbacks with Spurs. I got flashbacks with Milan. I hope you
Oh,
understand both. Yeah.
Don't,
So every
man.
time somebody slips
Why,
and
man?
we're getting a
Why did you
counter
have to
attack,
come
you
up
know
with
it's
this?
going to end up in our goal.
Why? Why did you have to come up with
I'm
this? Yeah,
sorry,
no,
but
truly,
that's
it
really
has.
what I thought.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, but think about think about it. This goal, what we just discussed last week with the free kick, with Scherpe who made that huge mistake, and the second goal came from the set piece. I mean, they didn't even create a clear chance this game. They were playing at home. I mean, it's a bit pathetic. Talking about a big club, Roma, a big city, playing in the Serie A, and still need to defend against Ajax. I mean, it's something to be proud of to be. I mean, playing like this against Ajax.
Yeah, but listen, this is our Dutch way
But
of thinking. This is our Dutch way of.
no, but I mean, we have to think forward. I mean, we're frustrated, and I'm really pissed, but we need to move forward. I mean, it was a bad game of ours, but yeah, the referee screwed us as well. So I mean, what can we do?
All right.
What can we
One
do?
last question. I mean, this weekend we have the cup final, but we're not thinking about that right now. Look,
No.
we had the European campaign. Looking at the squad in general, how
Yeah.
much do you think we can still grow with this squad, and how much do you think we should inject quality into the squad?
Well, we should definitely need a winger. I mean, Idrissi was barely a player who can be considered a reinforcement.
Can I
Uh,
listen? Can I ask you something about that? I mean, we're blaming
yeah,
Idrissi, right? how much chance did Idrissi get so far to come in? And the same applies also for Traore at the end, and even a little bit to Kudus as well. I mean, in such an important game, you're going to ask 3 players to come in to make an impact. But how much of a chance did they get before they get into that situation? Make an impact for that team. I mean, listen, I'm not going to blame Ten Hag. I thought Ten Hag did a lot very well.
I do blame him.
You do blame him?
I do blame him. I mean, which minutes did he bring on the Idrissi and Traore? Like last 5 minutes, like last 4 minutes? Well, you knew you had to score a goal.
My argument is these players don't have the form to contribute. This is basically a very huge gamble he's making.
No, but what could you do? What player could be brought in?
I mean, you don't have to bring players to make a change. You can also apply different tactics to make a change. I remember also during the break, I think you argued, you sent me a message and said maybe Ten Hag can even opt to go with 3 defenders at the back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have so many chances or choices that you can apply. You don't always have to substitute one-on-one, which is what Ten Hag does all the time. He always substitutions.
Yeah, what he did is he did some players, but he didn't bring out Schuurs, for example. So he did play at the end.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? He was the one that was playing a good game, and he was the best passes forward.
True. So, but I think he tried to create an impact, as you said, but it was way too late. With 5 minutes before the end, what kind of impact could these players bring?
Look, a coach, in my view, and I'm not blaming Ten Hag, but a coach should sense which players are in form and which players are eager and can change something. To be very honest with you, we know Kudus is a very good player, but Kudus is not in form. He doesn't have the rhythm. No. Idris doesn't have the rhythm yet. Traore, until this point, I don't think he has played in 2021.
Yeah, true.
For the first team.
But I mean, for Kudus, Kudus is an exceptional player. He has so much technique. With one action, he can create space. So
I'm sorry, did I mention Kudus at the end or Traore? I was talking about Traore.
No, you mentioned Kudus. He wasn't in form, and Traore he didn't play. So you mentioned Kudus at first.
Yeah.
But for Traore, I do agree with you. Idrissi didn't play a lot as well. But even though when he was brought in at the right side while he's a left winger. So it was a different position. But either way, Idrissi didn't impress me a lot this campaign at all. Don't know whether it's the fault of Ten Hag or not, but I think it were bad choices at the end. He had to sub them way earlier and made some really big decisions from the 60th minute, for example, and not wait until the 75th or something.
Look, at the end of the day, he had to also choose players that don't play a lot. We have so many injuries and players that are not eligible to play. I think this has been just too much for us to absorb at this point.
Fair point. I mean, we miss Onana, we miss Noes, we miss Blind, obviously one of the players that can create chances from behind. So apparently it was too much for Ajax, and we need to move on, and hopefully we get a bigger selection or bigger squad or a better squad in the upcoming months for next season.
All right. Do you think this team has what it takes to grow even further and compete next year in Europe?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It depends, of course, on which players stay and which players will leave. I expect Onana to stay. I know, perhaps Nico might leave, but I don't see any other players or Neres. But that's why I said we need some wingers and perhaps a left back.
Guys, I can feel it, man. I can. You want to subscribe.